Let's say you're eating clean all the time and you can't seem to lose the fat or build muscle no matter what you do. You tried all the diets, you tried keto, you tried the animal-based diet, you tried every diet under the sun, and nothing is working for your digestion or optimizing for you to lose fat. Now, in this video, we're gonna talk exactly how to fix that. This entire video is all about digestion and optimizing that so that way you can actually see the results that you're looking for. Because the last thing you wanna do is continue doing the same things that are not helping you lose the fat or build muscle or giving you that lean physique that you're looking for. So watch the video, let me know if you get anything out of it, and I'll see you in there.
All right. Hello, everyone. We are doing our group call on gut health. Okay. You guys liked the last call and you were like, gut health, metabolism. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. I can get really sciencey about gut health, and it makes more sense to do it in a group call because otherwise it would basically go over your heads. Like I would just be word vomiting. And yeah. So we're going to talk about gut health. And then if you guys have any questions, you know, I'm a slut for the chat. Ask them. And let's get into it. So let's just start with basics. What is digestion? Okay. I didn't do the animations this time, so don't read ahead. Okay. That's all digestion is, the process of breaking down food by mechanical and enzymatic action and alimentary canal into the substances that can be used into our body or by the. I copy and pasted this from definition, so I probably left out a little bit. So I was in a rush. But anyway, simplified is, you don't really need to know what the fuck this means. Simplified is the process of breaking down food, right? Obviously. How do we optimize digestion though? Optimizing digestion on how the body breaks down food and what the food is actually, what your body is breaking down. So how does digestion work? Physiologically, the mouth. The mouth is the first signal for the body, okay? If you want to dial in your digestion, your mouth starts, well, let's kind of take it from step one, right? Like you're hungry, your mouth starts salivating. Salivating, there we go. And that's the first sign for your body to start producing enzymes that are going to start breaking down food. Your stomach has to prepare to absorb the food. So when you want to better break down the food, chew your food fucking slow. Stop inhaling your fucking rice. Chew your rice. Chew your oatmeal. Chew things that are, you know, small in size, but still need to be chewed. Give me 1 second. I left my stove on. Beautiful. I guess I'm gonna need a new pan. Cool. Anyway. So the mouth, we want to start chewing slowly and understanding that that's the first signal for our body, right? And then, you know, that just as a general rule of thumb, 30 chews per bite until the food is kind of liquidated. That's ideal. So like I said earlier, saliva starts to break down the food into enzymes, right? That's the body's first signal to start stomach digestion before the food enters the stomach. And then the stomach acid actually does most of the work, right? So you want to make sure that your stomach acid is prepared to actually break down the food. Otherwise, your stomach acid is going to do a fuck ton of work, and then you have to produce more acid, which is where acid reflux comes from. So, and then the next one is stomach, where the food is stored and further broken down by acid, and then it moves into the small intestine. And then the small intestine, most of the nutrients are absorbed here, right? Where food is broken down even more through enzymes in a much slower process. That's why small intestine is actually not small. It's fucking huge. It's really long. So here's what we're going to talk about today. Probiotics, food sources, stress, which is a big one, sleep, meal timing, water, fiber, and movement. Kind of keep an eye on these things as we kind of talk through them. Probiotics. So a lot of people tell me I'm bloated and constipated. Should I just take probiotics? Should I take the fiber pills, laxative, blah, blah, blah? No, you don't do that. So probiotics are essentially like keys that unlock specific doors inside the gastrointestinal tract. So What that means is that these keys have the access to unlock these doors and allow things to flow better, right? What that means is probiotics are not the underlying issue. It's that you don't have the keys already built in to your gastrointestinal tract and your gut microbiome that's preventing you from not just using probiotics or getting them from food. So if your problem does not lie behind a specific door, the probiotic will prove to be useless. Does that kind of make sense? Let me know in the chat if it doesn't. Or in some cases, it can make the issue worse. Probiotics are a good line of defense, but in my personal coaching experience, they are not my immediate action when someone has digestive issues. Not having you jump on fucking fiber pills or do all the things from the store. We don't want to do that. So, food sources, we usually start with elimination diet. I've probably done this with a couple of you guys. It helps a fuck ton. It can work if your diet is an absolute train wreck and you have inconsistencies. I might have talked to you of a couple of you, well, not you guys specifically, but people in the past about low FODMAP. We'll explain later what that means. It's a really long acronym. It's like, it's a really long acronym. I forget it almost every time. Basically, we're going to be cutting out gluten, dairy, and artificial sugars and processed foods and add them back later as your digestion gets better. Okay, so dairy, gluten, artificial sugars, the big three. That's what low FODMAP diet basically eliminates. There are other FODMAP foods, but it's a long list and we don't want to go into it. So we start with the heavy hitters, which is dairy, gluten, and fake sugar, not from natural sources. Oops, I kind of went ahead. So this is if you're eating random things throughout the day, right? If you're not eating if you're eating inconsistent and you're having if you have a lot of dairy and gluten and fake sugar in your diet and things that are not natural, then FODMAP is probably going to be ideal. Every person will have their staples, their meat and potatoes, right? Every person will also have their triggers that offset digestion. For me, it's regular fucking milk. I will literally die, but I can handle cheese. I can handle some dairies. I can handle ice cream. I can handle some food, but regular milk, good God. So creating this map takes a little bit of trial and error, but to fully create, but it's worth it once you start dialing in your digestion. So how can you determine if you need the elimination diet? So if you have aggressive diet issues, right? Like aggressive. Anthony said milk is for the win. God damn it, dude. I'm so jealous that you're not lactose. So Anthony has great digestion. GG. So, but you should try the elimination diet. The low FODMAP is if you have aggressive digestive issues. Like that means we need to start tracking everything that you eat for a week or two and look at the food sources, the inconsistencies and the patterns. If your check-in is, and I made the check-in this last week a little bit more in what's the word? I made it more detailed in the questions. So that way you guys can answer them with a lot more detail in terms of digestion. So that way I can see like, hey, what do you think the foods are causing what foods do you think are causing your digestion to be this bad? So that way you understand what your patterns are. So example, if I'm having inconsistencies pooping in the morning and I notice my diet contains too much or little fiber, too much gluten, too much processed sugar, you'll need to start cutting these sources one by one. So what are foods you know will always digest well? So what foods can you keep in your diet that are solid, that won't cause you to have an upset tummy? Wow, I can't speak today. Give me 1 sec. I didn't get water. Solid. If red meat makes you feel bloated and you can't digest it well, then don't fucking order it when you eat out. Like don't order it. If red meat or fish or anything makes you feel bloated, then don't order it. Even though it's not on the no FODMAP list and it's a protein source that maybe you should probably have, your enzymes, you just don't have the enzymes for it. So they have to be built through other foods. So for example, I struggle with heavy sausage and bacon and pork. So anything that's pork-based or like high cholesterol foods, that's where I start to get reflux. Peanut butter on an empty stomach. If you ever had peanut butter on an empty stomach, it's tastes like peanut butter all day. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it. And my burps taste like peanut butter. It's nonstop, no matter what I eat after that. And then excess avocado, more than 2 to 3 a day. It's a fuck ton of fiber. I will start to bloat, so on. So these are technically not on the FODMAP list, right? They're not gluten or dairy or artificial sugars, but I know that they fuck me up. So why have them? I love them, but dosage makes the poison, which we'll talk about later. So let's continue. With food sources, dairy might not be your friend for digestion. Very seldom do I find someone that can handle dairy, aka Anthony in the chat, which is a one of like 20 people, maybe 100 people. Anyway, especially in a deficit. So in a deficit, we want to make sure that we're not having dairy because it's going to be, your digestion is just going to be very sensitive. So most people can handle dairy without some sort of water retention, swelling, inflammation, or anything like that. So if you ever remove dairy from your diet completely, maybe you'll notice less water retention, less swelling, less bloating, and so on. So you want to limit your dairy consumption in that case if that happens to you. Hydrogenated oils, what is it? They are basically used to chemically enhance the shelf life and structure of food, which is not good for your stomach, right? So hydrogenated, wow, I can't say the word. Hydrogenate, never mind. The oils that increase the shelf life of food, right, are usually processed. And those are the things that you want to stay out of. I'm not going to name them, but you can all do your own research on that. Fermented foods, these are good. We want to have 1 serving a day to aid in the stomach balance and the gut bacteria of your pH to make sure that everything is tip-top, right? These are prebiotics and probiotics. So kimchi, kombucha, miso, some cheeses, not all, okay? Sauerkraut, wine, don't go crazy. Wine is fermented. So having some of this is good. I forgot, these are mainly prebiotics. There's a difference between prebiotics and probiotics. And probiotics are mainly like the yogurts and the cheese and the Greek yogurt and stuff like that. These are different fermented process. So food source questions you ask yourself for food sources. So how many times are you eating out every week? Okay. What you want to do is you want to take that number of meals that you're eating out every week and divide it by the total number of meals that you have every week. So if I have, 3 meals out every week, and I know that I have 5, let's say 4 meals a day, right? That times 7 is 28. So let's take 3 divided by 28. I don't know what that number is. Let me pull up my calculator. It's less than like something. It's 3 divided by 28. So less than 10%, okay? So if more than 20%, cut out all those meals, right? You want to ask yourself this question because this is, most foods that are eaten out are a lot of hydrogenated oils, a lot of gluten, a lot of dairy, a lot of ingredients that you're not really aware of unless you're eating just steak and potatoes somewhere, right? But we're talking about out, like processed food. How many times are you consuming alcohol each week? Which is something that will fuck up your stomach. Are you drinking every single weekend? It's always, okay, whether you think so or not, alcohol always triggers digestive issues, even though your body adjusts and adapts, right? Your body adjusts and adapts to being in a deficit. It does the same thing to alcohol, but not in the best way. That doesn't mean that it's good, right? Your body's going to adjust, but it adjusts because it wants to get that alcohol the fuck out of your body as fast as possible. Your body is just familiar to this type of state, and you think your gut health is regular, right? So if you think that your gut health is regular by drinking alcohol every now and then, and you're actually having diarrhea, or you're bloated, or you're constipated, then that's not fucking regular. If you're pooping every other day, that's not regular. If you feel bloated and irregular with digestion after drinking, you got to stop, brother and sister. It's not worth it. I don't drink anymore for that reason, right? I stopped, like, whenever I was on a bulk or on a cut, mainly on a bulk, I would get I would not be able to eat basically after drinking. It's really weird. I'm the opposite. Like, I just don't have an appetite. So for me, that's all the alcohol in my stomach would throw off the pH. Therefore, my body just wanted to process the alcohol as fast as possible, because if you didn't know, alcohol is processed as a toxin in your body, as a poison actually, and it basically stops every metabolic process to get the alcohol the fuck out of your body. That's how it's processed. So, food for thought. A couple other questions to ask yourself. How consistent are you with your food sources day to day? This includes weekends. Make it a habit. If you're not seeing progress, start tracking the weekends for a month, and I bet you'll see inconsistencies in your diet. I was talking to someone about this today on a 101, and they always tell me that, the weekend is where I fuck up, bro. I don't know what happens. I just, in the weekends, every time I restrict, and then I want to go out with my girlfriend, and then we just eat out all the time. Like, okay, start tracking it, everything. I don't care if you're having chicken and waffles and bacon and pancakes. I need to see it all. I guarantee you there's a lot of those food sources that are gluten, dairy, and fake sugars that are causing you to basically bloat. So, yeah. Next question. How chaotic are you? How chaotic are you in your transitions with food sources? So let's say you'll have a solid protein-dense breakfast, right? Protein-dense breakfast is great. And then you eat chicken and veggies for lunch. Okay, good so far. And then you slam a double bacon cheeseburger with a milkshake at night because you have cravings. Damn, GG. Don't do that. That's a nasty, chaotic transition. Don't do that. Spikes like this are a fast way to get inconsistent digestion. The dosage makes the poison. If this double bacon cheeseburger and a milkshake has 2,000 calories and everything else had 1,500 or less, probably less than protein dense breakfast and chicken and veggies is not a lot. I would say like 800 max. Then you're getting a majority of your calories from shitty food. So there's your answer. And how often do you drink coffee? I am a victim of this, so this applies to me, and I'll call myself out on this. Excess caffeine, a diuretic, always irritates the gut. If you rely heavy on caffeine to go poop, you need to cut back and introduce more fermented foods. So that's why I've been having more Mediterranean stuff in my diet. Natural fiber sources like potatoes, fruits, veggies, beans, and so on. Leave coffee alone. You know what? I love coffee too. Ali. I was about to slam a coffee before this, and I was like, you know what? I don't need it. I need it. Anyway, you want to be having more natural carbs and grains too. Rice, quinoa, couscous, and so on. Natural grains are great, not the fake grains. Like the oatmeal in the boxes with the flavors and shit, or like a fake grain would also be cream of rice. That's a fake grain. Or anything packaged like that, really. Natural probiotics are Greek yogurt and kefir. So like we said earlier, fermented foods like kimchi, and I can just think of kimchi because I love kimchi. Those are fermented foods, and those are prebiotics. Probiotics are Greek yogurts and kefirs. I would think like more dairy sources that are fermented with dairy being the main ingredient are probiotics. Anything outside of that is a prebiotic. The kefir, the Mediterranean style foods, and everything I listed out on this slide. Where was it? Let me go back because now it's bugging me. Wow, am I not? Okay, I think I'm going. How am I going forward? And I'm pressing this. Wow. GG, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm going forward for whatever reason, and I was pressing to the left. So kimchi, kombucha, miso, cheese, and sauerkraut. So yeah, those are prebiotics. Okay, let's continue. Let's see. Where was I? Cool. So go back here, and then so stress. Let's talk about stress because this is a big one. If you have high stress, you're gonna have shit digestion, literally and metaphorically. Don't do that. Manage your stress, breath work, or meditation, or go on a walk, go touch some fucking grass, whatever you need to do, or go work out, whatever you need to do. Stress can be downplayed when it comes to digestion because if you put inconsistent digestion on +10, sorry, you put inconsistent digestion and then you add level 10 stress, and you're telling me stress isn't causing your digestive issues. It's interesting. Stress decreases blood flow. This is the science, okay? Stress decreases blood flow and oxygen to the stomach, therefore leading to cramping, inflammation, imbalanced gut pH, triggers gut issues that are present, and they're similar to IBS, right? I'm pretty sure people, irritable bowel syndrome, right? Most of you think you have IBS, but it's just high stress. So intestines, what you didn't know is intestines have a tight barrier, a very tight barrier to protect the body from food bacteria, right? Food bacteria is not ideal in the bloodstream. So the stress makes those intestinal walls weaker inside your gut, inside your intestinal walls. Your small intestine literally gets thinner the more stressed you are. So this allows what? Gut bacteria to enter the body. Not good, okay? Which leads to something we're going to talk about called SIBO, which is not ideal. It's small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, which is leaky gut syndrome almost. So stress leads to chronic digestive issues, basically, TLDR, okay? Chronic eating for longer periods of time in a dieting phase is also high stress. If you've been in a dieting phase for longer than, I don't know, 12, 15, 16 weeks, that's a fuck ton of time. That's 3 to 4 months. For what? For you to kind of hang out in the same range and not really, you don't want to be that stressed out psychologically and digestively all the time. So shit quality sleep can also affect the body's, shit quality sleep can also affect the body the same as high stress. They are basically same thing. If you fix your sleep, you'll tackle half the problem. So obviously 7 to 9 hours is a sweet spot to optimize digestive issues. Try having, if you're in a bulk, if anyone in here is eating a lot of food, try sleeping 5 or less hours or 6 hours on the food that you're eating now. Probably not fucking possible, right? You're going to wake up super bloated. It's going to feel like shit, and literally metaphorically, and it's going to hurt. I know. So I have to be on top of my sleep. Otherwise, I'm waking up looking like a balloon. If you get outside of 10 hours, you sleep in 10 hours. Oh, Emmanuel just joined. Solid. You sleep in 10 hours. Usually digestion is going to be off for a couple hours sometimes. Some days, right? So what that means is you wake up early as fuck. You get 3 to 5 hours of sleep, airport travel, night shift, events, and so on. Digestion will also take a hit for a couple of hours, and you will feel bogged down most of the morning. Why? Circadian rhythm, which is something I've talked to you a lot about. Basically, your circadian rhythm is off. Your digestion, your energy, your sleep will be off. If your circadian rhythm is off, that means digestion, energy, and sleep and stress will continue to stay in the same cycle. Circadian rhythm is just your body's natural sleep cycle and your wake cycle. So get that dialed. And I basically tell you to go get some fucking sunlight in your eyes. This is a very packed presentation. Wow. Time management. This is still on stress. If you're always on go, go, go mode and you don't sit the fuck down to eat your food in a calm manner, or you're not present while eating the food, digestion is going to be fucked. I just made a whole ass meal, right? It's sitting right in front of me right before this call. I'm not going to eat it during the call. Why? I'm talking. I'm in go, go, go mode. Why am I going to try and eat and talk and try and like, that's going to cause inconsistencies with my digestion. A lot of air, a lot of inconsistencies with eating. I'm not going to be present while eating. So I'm just going to put it down. The microwaves exist. I'll do it later. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to eat it. Don't make it an excuse to be like, oh, I can't have my calories. Just eat it later. Or just stack it with another meal. Anyway, here's what you can try. Eat your biggest meal without your phone one day and notice digestion. This is a big one. I do this with my breakfast every morning. I sit there and I stare at Ponyo. And I eat my yogurt and my apple and my walnuts. And I stare at Ponyo and she stares at me. And it's the best. on my phone, and I don't touch it until I get back from the gym. Then, or another thing you can try is eat your biggest meal with your phone one day and then notice digestion. So do both. See how digestion's off and see how fast you inhale your food and how fast you chew your food with your phone. Probably going to inhale it and then digestion's going to be off. Chances are you're scarfing down your food without chewing much. On top of that, you're in high stress, go, go, go mode. And now your gut now has to do all this work. You're highly stressed, gut is off, but pH balance is off too. So you feel bloated. Then intestinal walls start to weaken because you're stressed. And now you're not pooping for 2 days. Ask me how I know. So you see how this cycle is very, very, very fast and not a lot of people are aware of it. It's because it happens basically all at once. But this is why stress is, I've been going on for this stress slide for about 3 or 4 slides. It's fucking important because it causes your intestinal walls to deteriorate over time. And then you get leaky gut syndrome. So we want to go from stressed to rest. So the causes of high stress is high training, estrogen dominance, dieting too long, too much cardio and added life stress. Too much stress equals less acid in the small intestine, right? Like I said, not enough blood flow to the small intestine, therefore there's less acid, okay? If you're training 5 to 6 days, pull back to 3 to 4 days and go RPE 6 to 8, or 6 to 7, sorry, which is about 3 to 4 reps shy of failure, right? You're leaving a couple reps left in the tank. Don't hit failure. Don't be a ding dong. You also want to pull cardio back 3 to 4, low steady state, right? LISS. And do instead, or you can do 30 minutes and no hit, either way, or just lots of walking outside. That's probably going to be your best bet because one, you get fucking sun, you touch some grass, you're outside, you're setting your circadian rhythm. Great. Way more birds with one stone than just doing cardio on the machine. So digestion needs to be in the parasympathetic, not sympathetic. Ash has talked about what parasympathetic and sympathetic mean. They are basically just rest and digest versus stressed, right? So breath work, 4 seconds in versus 4 seconds out. That's gonna help you be in the rest and digest mode. So want to make sure that we're in the parasympathetic most of the time because it's rest and digest. Stress lowers stomach acid, like I said, your stomach pH, creating acid reflux or GERD issues for men, right? I'll talk about GERD later. Others end up with bad bugs in the stomachs, yeast, candidas, changes to the gut microbiome, and so on. So this is it's a lot of shit happens with stress. And then genetics play a role in what happens with your gut reaction, which is GERD, IBS, gut imbalance, and so on, right? So genetics kind of play a role in that. So here's some protocol to you to kind of help you guys to alleviate. So take screenshots if you want. This is kind of important, but don't do it if I haven't recommended any of this stuff for you, okay? So you want to do a flush. What's a flush? It's basically a 14-day protocol where I have done with some clients, not everyone. It just depends on your digestion, right? So diet restrictions would be like gluten, alcohol, dairy, low FODMAP, right? We're going super low FODMAP. Nothing gluten, dairy, alcohol, remove it. If you have a small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, which is SIBO, if you've never heard of that, small intestinal gut bacteria, it's basically bloat. Basically bloat for the people that don't know. We're going to want to go low FODMAP or Mediterranean diet. Mediterranean diet is great. That's why I'm introducing more Mediterranean style toppings in my foods. It's the best. Do it. On top of that, no artificial sweeteners except stevia or monk fruit. Drink a gallon of water a day at least. You want to cut caffeine. This is the hard one for a lot of people. You want to have max 50 milligrams, which is not, it's fucking nothing. It's half an espresso shot or something. And then after that, there are a couple supplements that are in the link tree that you can go to and take. But optimally, we just want to do these top, 5 things and not do the supplements. And then if we need to introduce supplements, that's when I introduce them if gut bacteria hasn't gotten any better, because we want to make sure the intestinal gut bacteria for SIBO is getting better. What about 500 milligrams of caffeine? You're fucked, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that. MetaPure supplements, which is a 2-scoop thing. You can look at it in the link tree if you want, and OptiPure, which is 3 capsules. I've had some clients on it. General bloating and gas and constipation. Okay, this is very easy. Bloating 1 hour after eating. This is a pancreas issue. It's not SIBO. Okay, there's bloating like in the morning. There's bloating generally throughout the day, and then it goes away. This is different. If you're having bloating right after you're eating, it's a pancreatic enzyme here. Your pancreas is kind of fucked. So what this means is chew your fucking food. Chew your food 20 to 30 times and be mindful. Very demure. Okay, do that. Good bacteria will have to rebalance. So natural probiotics, your Greek yogurts and your kefir, and prebiotics, which is your Mediterranean style and kimchi toppings. Okay. These ideally, I just kind of like to do all the time, except the pancreatic enzyme. I don't take that. I just chew my food really, really mindfully in the mirror, and I have a lot of probiotics and prebiotics. Do that. Okay. And I'm pretty sure you won't need the pancreatic enzyme unless you just have a day, maybe you're on your cycle, or you have something where you're like, fuck, that triggered my bloating. Then you can have the enzyme, but have most of the food and you'll be fine. Meal timing. This is huge, and most people look past it. If your meal timing is off, it's going to be hard to have consistencies in your digestion. So this is where we eat certain foods that can have a bigger effect on our digestion. Fats and fiber are slower digesting. Okay, remember this. Fats and fiber are slower digesting. Your peanut butter, your oils, your healthy or your like fattier meats, anything that's fiber related, right? Sweet potatoes and oats, stuff like that. Those are slower digesting, and they cause meals to digest slower as a whole. So think how long it takes to digest 2 tablespoons of peanut butter versus a whole carb source, right? A fruit, for example. The fruit can go into your bloodstream pretty fast. Peanut butter doesn't go into your bloodstream very fast at all. So having a high fat, high fiber foods after no workout or movement will cause food to sit for a while. Read this, very important, right? You see it on TikTok very often, and this, I wholeheartedly disagree with it. Like the meals that are just steak and eggs and avocados and this and that. You shouldn't have steak after your workout. I love steak too. Trust me, I love steak so much, but I'm not going to have it after your workout. Why? Because it's going to make me feel really sluggish, and digestion is going to be really, really slow, and the food is just going to sit. After a workout, you want to make sure a lot of that protein and those carbs are being shuttled into your fucking muscles, not just sitting in your digestive tract and waiting 2-3 days to be processed. 2 to 3 business days. So, example, think of going to a free meal at night, right? A free meal, choose your favorite place. And you eat high-fat foods, and you feel bloated the next day, which sets you back on your breakfast and other meals. Digestion is off the whole next day, right? Let's say my favorite foods to eat out, let's say you have like a lot of fried foods, right? High in fat. So, your double bacon cheeseburger with a milkshake. Wake up the next morning, you're not going to feel hungry, for sure. That's high fat. Whereas if you just eat a lot of rice, maybe you have like an Asian restaurant with a lot of rice and meat that's not like pork and super high in fat, you'll probably feel hungry the next day, right? Maybe pizza. Pizza's an okay source too, because it's just cheese. That's the only fat source. There's no, the meats maybe, but So that's where you got to be conscious of the food sources that you choose for like meal timing. Okay, this is important. The breakfast. If you don't eat breakfast around a certain time of the day, you may notice your digestion being off the entire day and causing you to not hit your protein, feeling backed up, not hungry, low energy. Okay. Make sure you're eating breakfast at the same time every single day and doing it whether you're hungry or not, because it's important. You're gonna try and backtrack all your proteins, and you're gonna have like 69 grams of protein to hit for the day at 9 p.m. before you go to bed. And you're like, how do I do this? well, you fucked up. So don't do that. Next, find your digestive cues that work for you. Okay. What this means is not every method or cue that I state in here isn't the end all be all for everyone. These are just, I guess, suggestions, but a lot of the things that I say are science, but there are heavy suggestions that you should take with a heavy grain of salt. Like one of them is becoming more present with your eating patterns. That's a heavy suggestion. And then you want to understand what foods inflame you, right? Some glutens, dairies, and heavy meats and heavy fats are probably going to inflame you. Learn your patterns so that you can understand how you can optimize your meal timing, okay? Your meal timing is just one of those things you need to dial in. Otherwise, it's going to be hard to not feel bloated all the time. So a question you can ask yourself is, how do you feel before bed? Let's say you say, I feel to bed stuffed. I meant to say I go to bed. I go to bed stuffed and I wake up not hungry. So solution for this would be eat more in the morning or during the day and don't eat a fat ass meal before bed. Because if you eat a fat ass meal before bed, that's going to cause you to wake up not hungry. Okay. How do you feel in the morning? Let's say you say, or let's say that I say, whatever. I feel lethargic in the morning and I'm super hungry at night. A solution: space out your meals and cut one meal in half and make it an extra meal for the day. Right? Like usually I wouldn't have this dinner until 7 p.m. So I'm not worried because I still have way more calories to kill at the end of the day. But I'm basically cutting it in half because I'm saving it for after this call. So anyway, your brain sees this as more volume and feels satiated, cutting dinner in half and having a second half around the time that you would feel super hungry, right? So it's kind of a trick to your brain, like more meals equal more food, technically, right? Like I'm pretty sure you've seen bodybuilders and people that are on prep and for bodybuilding shows where they have 6 or 5 meals prepped. There's a reason for that. Psychologically, they're in a deficit, right? They're in a very, very heavy deficit to get fucking peeled, but they have 6 meals. So psychologically, they're trying to say to their brain, we need to feel more satiated and have more meals and more volume to feel full. Otherwise, we're going to go into binge mode, right? So you want to have the same thing around you, right? Whatever works for you. Find the digestive cues that work for you. Meal timing, continued. 4 meals a day is a solid sweet spot if you're in maintenance, cut, or bulk, whatever. That's my sweet spot. That's always been my sweet spot. You can always run it up to 5 meals in a deficit, so that way you can have more volume, like I said earlier. And 5 meals can work if you're in a bulk or you struggle putting down food in one sitting, right? If you're struggling to like put down food, then 3 meals is way too much food per meal. 4 is like, okay, we're splitting up a little more, than 5 is okay. That's a lot better. This can work for baseline calories too, right? Your maintenance. This can vary, but I rarely find that 3 meals and 2 snacks or even 6 meals don't work for many people, right? Like you need a real meal. We're not meant for snacks. You need to use the energy for every meal. I only said 6 meals because this doesn't apply to people that are in deficits, right? Like very, very, very deep deficits. It's more of a psychological thing. But for the general Joe that is just trying to lose weight for, life and not go into a bodybuilding show, then this doesn't work. Just do 4 meals or 5 meals, stick to the thing, and that's it. Water, okay, helps create saliva. Saliva contains enzymes. Oh, that's crazy, huh? Saliva actually contains the enzymes that break down the food. And they're basically crucial for you to alleviate constipation because you want to have a softer stool, right? So you want to Haktua on your food. I'm just kidding, don't do that. So, so minimum, shoot for 1 ounce for every 1 pound of body weight. Okay. 1 ounce for every 1 pound of body weight. I meant to say half an ounce. My bad. So half an ounce. I always say, at least in your check-ins or your Google Sheets, there's a row in there that says water, and it's always calculated to half your body weight. So this should be 0.5. So at least target that. And your highest target should be a gallon if you can do that. Water will also help you digest food. So to digest food 15 minutes before and after meals to help stomach enzymes and pH break down the food instead of diluting stomach enzymes. So don't drink water like during your meal because it's going to dilute stomach enzymes. You want to allow the stomach to do its thing. And post-digestion walks work a lot too. So post-digestion walks are great. Please incorporate them. Get some fucking sun, touch some grass. Fiber. This one's important. Okay. Fiber is like gum. Okay. Gum takes out all the food that's in your teeth and cleans up the mouth, right? But it also gets progressively harder to chew the more you chew it. Fiber works the same way in your gut. Too much fiber, things get sticky and hard. Okay. That's what she said. And then don't move, and then don't move. Things don't move. Too little fiber, things don't move well enough, or maybe they like pebbly. Basically, what fiber does is it pulls the moisture into the GI tract, and this is the main support for digestion, right? It pulls moisture into the GI tract, so into your small intestine, and then it helps you process the stool. So let's talk about added fiber too. Fake fiber. Fake fiber is in your fiber pastas, your protein bars, your low carb tortillas and bread, and your keto this and keto that, the bullshit. Have those in moderation. I'm not saying they're terrible for you, but they do back you up. Why? Because 14 grams of fiber for every 1 gram of carb is not ideal. That's how you're going to stay constipated forever. You're going to have too much fiber and then things get sticky and hard and then don't come out. Not good. So foods that are basically not natural and have added fiber will back you up. So basically TLDR, stick to whole food, not the low carb this and that. Okay. My preferred fiber sources, fruits, optimally with edible skin because they have better fiber content like apples, berries, peaches, pears, etc. Veggies, literally choose anything. I mean, except like fucking lettuce, regular lettuce and cucumbers. Those are literally just water. More cruciferous veggies, okay? And a rule of thumb for fiber, take a screenshot of this, 12 to 15 grams per 1,000 calories. That is your target for most people. If you're not targeting around that, if you're at, let's say 3,000 calories, my target should be at 12 times 3, that's 36, and then 15 times 3 at the high end is 45. So you could just say 35 to 45 grams, which is where I'm at. I'm usually at 40, right in the middle. Digestive system, like our nervous systems from Ash's call, is millions of years old. Okay. We're eating basic foods and less processed foods. We were eating basic foods and less processed foods up until about 100-ish years ago, right? We didn't have cereals, we didn't have protein bars or low carb tortillas or protein powders or any of that bullshit, okay? It was all food. We have way more processed foods now in our society because of consumerism, correct? So feed your body accordingly. Your body doesn't need the fake fiber or any of the fake shit in general. It just kind of came out because of consumerism. So realize that it's made and engineered to taste really good, and so you can buy it. Like spend more money on it. So don't do it. Meal timing. If you have 20 plus fiber for one meal, like 20 plus grams of fiber for one meal, pull back on the fiber. You will feel bloated and constipated. Don't do that. That's a lot of fucking fiber for one meal. Way too much. Okay. I already did this slide. There we go. Okay. Poor fat digestion. What that means is you have bloating and discomfort after having heavy fat foods, right? So you have floating stools, acne on the arms, head or back, and so on, right? The cause is you have low bile production in the gallbladder. A supplement that you can take for this is choline or intestinal or taurine, and there's a link here, but it is also in the link tree under supplements if you want to. But this is if you have poor fat digestion. If you're eating heavy pork and heavy bacon and heavy eggs and heavy steak and all that stuff that has a lot of fat, peanut butter, then, and if you feel like you're still bloating and discomfort, then yeah, that's why. Let's go to SIBO. This one's important because I see a lot of people with this. Like I said, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. The small intestine is where you absorb food, right? We said this. If you're not absorbing food, that means that's leading to malnutrition, basically malabsorption of food. So you're not getting any of the nutrients. What the causes are is you have low stomach acid, right? Because high stress, too much reliance on antibiotics in their past stress, poor diet, and high in sugar, sweets. Don't do that. Eating disorders, disordered eating and restrictive binging, poor functioning digestive enzymes, so you're not chewing your food, use of acid blockers over time, so proton pumpers and anything that's basically used for acid blockers. Constipation left unchecked, which is when you're eating a lot of fiber and you're highly stressed, or you just have lowered immunity, right? This is something you want to test on a GI map. Testing for SIBO. Many tests are anywhere between $500, $600 for a good Genova stool test, where you poop in a box and you send it to a lab. If you run a SIBO protocol, which is mainly low FODMAP, it won't hurt you if you have bloating, gas, and constipation. So you don't need the map. But most practitioners are going to say, test, don't guess, right? Everyone's going to say, don't test, don't guess. But if you have any of these symptoms, right? Diarrhea, bloating, gas, abdominal pain, nausea, appetite, food cravings, skin rashes, and genital itching, or any of this, then you probably have SIBO. And most Americans have it at some point in their life. So, and if you drink water immediately and then bloat, this is a telltale sign that you do have SIBO, right? Small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. Okay, look up if you want. The diet for SIBO, like I said, low FODMAP, Mediterranean style food, no artificial sweeteners, and so on, right? 8 to 10 weeks of this. 8 to 10 weeks is a while. You want to basically be on it for what? 2.5 months, 3 months? So stick to it. Make sure that you're consistent with it, because otherwise the SIBO is just going to keep coming back. You need to give time for the bacteria to basically leave your body. So if you feel better at the end of the 10 weeks, start introducing one of the FODMAP foods every week. Start with like a fruit or a veggie or a gluten source or a cheese source or anything that you enjoy, and just stick to that one. Don't overcomplicate it. If you're tracking macros with SIBO, you may need to switch to a meal plan, so that way you can actually see consistent progress. I have some people on meal plans because it helps them see a lot more consistencies with progress. So that way you don't have to run into their own choices and, you know, be at the consequence of their own choices. So after the 8 to 10 weeks, you want to be on a maintenance. We add one FODMAP food per week. This is important to feed the good bacteria, right? Want to get the good bacteria back in there. So supplements to help with that are the Flora Protect and Utilize, which is basically a digestive enzyme, right? So these are just supplements, again, Linktree and supplements. Some notes about SIBO is sometimes it can get worse before it gets better. So sometimes you'll get headaches and cramping and bowel movement and even rashes. If you get thrush, which is a white film in the mouth and it's thick, you'll know when you have it, if you ever had it. Use Dentacin. This is a toothpaste, and you basically want to brush 3 times daily, right? The thrush is basically a bacteria that's leaving your body through your mouth because, yeah, it gets worse before it gets better. So that's unfortunate. Don't look at pictures online. That's the worst. Anyway, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. I'm sure many of you maybe not, what's the word? Maybe you switched IBS for SIBO, or I can't think of the word. Anyway, symptoms for IBS is you have 2 to 3 runny stools per day right after eating, along with cramps, pain, and inflammation. That's super runny. Like, many times this is just SIBO, but in order for you to really find out, you can basically go low FODMAP and take these supplements. So Supplements would be a gut defender. And this is basically if you have diarrhea. This is a bacteria, probiotic you can take, and so on. So these are all bacteria, and these are all, this is down here, these are omeganetics, which is basically fish oils, and curcumin. So there's a couple of inflammation supplements that you can take, but also taking the supplements that are going to help you with IBS in general would just be the gut bacteria and gut defender and going low FODMAP. Leaky gut. Leaky gut is just an increase in permeability of the intestinal walls, digestive condition which bacteria and toxins are able to leak through the intestinal wall, right? So like I said, high stress equals weak walls equals leaky gut, which causes widespread inflammation to the entire body. So the protocol you want to do with this is basically low FODMAP. Again, see how it's the answer for a lot of things. No gluten, no dairy, no alcohol. Symptoms would be bloating, food sensitivities, fatigue, digestive issues, skin problems, Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease, lupus, eczema. Many of the symptoms are very similar to SIBO, so it's hard to discern what to treat. Okay, so make sure that you basically just go low FODMAP if you have any of these issues, because it's going to help you save your body. Obviously, in stress, you want to lower stress in cardio, add a probiotic, and glutamine is a huge one to help rebuild the mucosal lining in the gut. And aloe vera juice is great, 50 ounces, 3 times per day. Meal 1, 3, and 5 is solid, and then curcumin to help with inflammation. So that's the leaky gut. So what's the difference between all this? Leaky gut and SIBO, which one? If there's no sign of autoimmune disease, which is, Hashimoto's or anything that's autoimmune related, and you need blood work to determine this, go with SIBO. If autoimmunity comes up, use leaky gut protocol. Usually you can go SIBO because SIBO causes leaky gut, right? And if there's a combination of constipation, diarrhea, and bloating, usually you can go SIBO because SIBO causes leaky gut. I just read that. What the fuck? Run SIBO, basically just run SIBO protocol first, which is lower inflammation, low FODMAP, and it kills the bad bugs which cause leaky gut. So do SIBO, then leaky gut protocol. And if they end up having an autoimmunity, run the supplements that are in the leaky gut and go from there. Give me 1 second, guys, because I'm going to have to tell a client to wait after, because we have a call at 7. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's go to movement. How many slides do I have left? Because we want to make sure that we make time. Oh, beautiful. It's the last slide. So movement, we're not meant to be sedentary. The same with our food quality. We were moving 100+ years ago, a lot. We didn't have cars. We didn't have these fucking electric bikes and all these sedentary ways of moving. We started driving. We started sitting more. We started laying more. If you want to be optimized digestion, you need to move. It's like a non-negotiable. You need to move. It doesn't have to be on a walk. It can be yoga. It can be jumping jacks. It can be breathing exercises. It can be whatever, but you need to do something with your body. Ideally, 10 to 15-minute walks is the easiest thing because you get some motherfucking sunlight. It's the best. Less movement, like I said, equals less blood circulation, equals less oxygen in the gut, therefore less acid. And then you end up basically being in a high stress situation. So if you work a 9-to-5 desk job, go move every 1.5 to 2 hours. Go on a 5-10-minute walk, stretch, jump, breathe, go to the bathroom, and go fuck off for a little bit. You need to sit at your desk all day. You need circulation. Too much movement can also affect digestion. Okay, too much movement. There's too much and too little, right? 20K steps per day, cardio, train, that's a lot. things are in a relaxed state to digest and process, right? If you're moving, you literally can't shit. Your digestion's not doing anything. If you're on your feet all day, it's hard for your digestion to do anything. So you need to be in a rest and then digest mode after you move. So parasympathetic is, like I said, rest and digest. The more that we are in the state, the more digestion will be optimized. And then you can also introduce some intra-workout carbs. When you eat, your body pushes more blood into the gut, away from the muscle. So that means having food during your workout isn't that ideal. I said you should have intra-workout carbs. That's a lie. I'm sorry. So when you eat, body goes into the gut, away from the muscle. That means Gatorade before the gym instead of during the gym. That's ideal. Not during the gym. You don't want to digest any of the calories basically during training, because that's you're gonna pump. Your pump is gonna be shit, and you're gonna get any blood into the muscle. So yeah, I know this was a lot. I was supposed to get through it in like 40 minutes, and I went over. But that's it. Do you guys have any questions? Any takeaways? Because there's a lot of stuff that I can share. Does anyone feel like they need gut health protocol? Anyone has ever dealt with SIBO? Leaky gut. Clear? Maybe. Perhaps. I need better gut health, but I don't know if I have any of that. Any of what, brother? Come off mute. SIBO. Oh. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Most people don't think they have SIBO because that's why I was saying earlier. Like most people think that SIBO is irregular, is their normal. And most people don't know what it's like to not have SIBO because they never experienced a full low FODMAP type diet. So what I would say, because there is a lot of gluten and dairy in your fucking diet, you drink a fuck ton of milk. So what I would say, go low FODMAP for like a month. Let me know if your body changes. If it doesn't, you can say, Mike, you're a fuckhead. You're wrong. And then you can prove me wrong. But just looking at pictures, sometimes I see a little bit of bloat, but it's not like a bad bloat, but it's like, I feel like we could be leaner. So it's just water retention, brother, is what I'm saying. It might not hurt, but I mean, like physically, because sometimes people think it's regular and it's like your body adapted to that. But yeah. Does that make sense? You said you agree. Okay, cool. So try it for 40 weeks. 4 weeks. See if something happens. Anyone else? Izzy, Ali, Stefan, Miguel.
Well, apart from feeling like personally victimized by this whole presentation, I was just curious. You were saying, maybe I just missed it, but were you saying oats are like something that we should be avoiding?
No. The ones that
Okay.
are in the box that are like the brown sugar and apple cinnamon, and the ones that are like even with the little cereal bited ones that
Like
have
the
a lot of
Kodiak protein.
Kodiak,
Oats.
even protein oats and protein.
Great. So I'll
Like
just go fuck myself then.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, same.
Great. Back to the store I go. Thank you.
Yummy strawberry and Quakers, dude. Just add strawberries and milk to your fucking oatmeal. It's so easy.
No, I just got like it was just like the ready-made Kodiak oat packets. And I was
Oh.
like, oh my God, so easy, so simple. When I'm like finishing up at the gym at 4, like just dump that in a bowl, ready to go. But now
You
I
can
gotta
have it.
scoop it and measure
No,
it.
no, you can have it. You can have it. I mean, moderation. Moderation. Like what I like to do is have a serving of that and a serving of regular oatmeal, or like half a serving of whatever, right? Mix it with regular food. Don't just have like 3 packets of Kodiak and, I hit my protein for the day. No.
Okay.
The big underlying issue here in this whole gut health uh group call and just the slide deck is the dosage makes the poison for everything.
Yeah.
So if you have like a quarter cup of milk or half a cup of milk,
Mm.
that's fine. You can digest that. If you're fucking slamming 2 cups of milk and you know that you're just having the doo-doos all day, then why would you do that? Like,
Listen, you know I can't even look at milk at this point in my life.
I know, same.
Once I hit 30, it all just went downhill.
Same.
Yeah.
So cheese is like one of those things for me where I have to be like, okay, I can have a serving of cheese, but after that, I have to suffer the consequences of my decisions.
Yep, been there.
So, that's it. But
Okay.
there's a very jam-packed hour.
Yeah, there's a lot
yeah.
that I
So-
have to change in my life, apparently.
You don't have to do all of it all at once. Relax. Oh my god. Flip your life 360. Good God.
Leave my caffeine out of this.
Okay. That's why I personally victimize myself doing that one too. Because I'm a caffeine fiend right now. It's kind of bad.
Yeah, I feel you.
But I'm gonna do my best after my meet.
You got this.
I got this, I think.
You do. You got this. You're gonna kill it.
But yeah, the biggest things, movement and just having a diverse gut bacteria.
Okay.
Yeah. Add prebiotics. Just stick with low FODMAP most of your life, and I promise your gut health will look very, very, very different all the time.
Okay.
Gluten-free everything, lactose-free everything,
Great.
and stevia. So
I love that for me. Yep.
bread isn't even all that.
I feel like I'm almost there. Like literally the gluten is like the last piece of the puzzle because I already don't really have like most of the shit that I have is like sugar free if it's processed.
Right. But even if I have bread, it's like once or twice a month at a thing, or at an event, or maybe I'm having pizza, whatever it is, or a torta. Not like the person, but like like the food.
Shut up.
So like I don't have it often. The dosage make the poison. If you're having it every day for breakfast or for dinner or for your snack, it adds up. I used to slam peanut butter and jellies all day, and now I'm like, oh, that's what fucks up my stomach.
Well, I used to slam those English muffins until you're like, oh my God, the fiber, the gluten. And I was like, whoa, But it's fine. I'm on oats now. That's my game.
Okay, 2 oats. Your game.
Yeah.
Miguel and Izzy, you guys have any questions? Okay, Miguel left. GG. All right.
I don't have any questions. I think like the main thing is that I still don't eat at like the same time every day.
Oh,
Like sometimes my breakfast is at 5 in the morning, sometimes it's 9 in the morning, sometimes my dinner is at 5, sometimes my dinner is at 9, sometimes my lunch is at 10 in the morning, sometimes my lunch is at 3 in the afternoon.
that's fine. I would say like a 1 hour plus or minus on either side. Like my breakfast is the same time every morning. I know that. And usually my post workout is too. But like my dinner and my lunch and my post dinner, those are usually like plus or minus an hour on each side.
Mm-hmm.
I usually have dinner around like 7, which is perfect right now. So I'm going to eat. But I was going to eat earlier. That didn't work. So try and work on that. Like now, plus or minus an hour. Get your digestion a little optimized there.
Yeah. I feel like other than that, it's good. You know,
Okay, it's good.
it makes sense why when I was in the desert getting like that, when I was getting like 20 to 26,000 steps a day, why my digestion was a little iffy.
Oh,
Checks out.
yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out. Good. Now you know.
That's all.
The more you know.
That's all.
Good. Cool. Thanks you guys for coming. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, we'll talk about mindset the next time because I think people also get a lot of that. And I have fun making the mindset ones, but digestion's good and nutrition's good because people have questions and it's important. And it helps me help y'all better. So yeah, I'll post up the video soon on the tubes and then let me know if you have questions.
Sick.
Okay. Thank
All right.
you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Bye guys. You too.
Bye.